Holy snapping duck shit.
My good mate from Bump and Run Booker joins us.
I'm excited for another great show tonight. Give it the hoot nanny.
Hey everyone, welcome on to Trackside with Kokpit, brought to you by GARAGE16. Thanks to Aaron Lewis and the team there as well. We caught up with Aaron last Monday. Hopefully you jump on GARAGE16 on Facebook. You can see what Books and I spoke about with our friend Aaron, who has supported us here at Kokpit Media, Trackside with Kokpit, for a little while now. So thanks to Aaron, but also thanks to everyone who's jumped on board this morning. Just do a quick shout out to Aaron Ferguson. Well done, boys. Great weekend. Darren, Brian Latwood, Lappy there. Mark Goodman, Richard Trudy Aldridge, Carol and Trevor Ferguson. You are Aaron said, Thomas Scott. Thanks, Mark Goodman. Good recognition, AGM. We'll talk about that as well. Dave Thomas, Wayne Alton, 101 days till we get the green flags and the methanol sniffers get back trackside. Tane Ballantyne. Yeah, we'll show the trophies throughout the day. Throughout the evening, 20 stars. Thanks, Dave Thomas. But we'll get into it because we got quite an in-depth show to talk about from the weekend just gone, the Friday and the Saturday. Booker, mate, how are you?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad, mate. She's a bit chilly down here in the big heart of Hawke's Bay. It's it's definitely been a bit cold today, but just recovering from the long weekend. It was a very long few days from Thursday onwards for us, and muchly enjoyed. And of course we got the dub, I suppose, and had a couple of wins with a couple of trophies, which was pretty exciting. And I'm very happy and just ready to talk about the weekend and the processes, because that's the bit that blew me away the most, mate. You know, like it just everything. What people's perception, I suppose, is very different to what actually happens. Oh, what's that? Kinser's got something up there. Annual general meeting. Oh, the book. Yeah.
The Bible.
And if we look at how thick this is very thick book. That's there was so many remits to go through, but we'll get into that soon. But Kins, I mean, like, what a privilege it was to be asked to come up and join that AGM and be a part of it.
Yeah, 100% Books. Zoe and Lani, when they approached us a few weeks back after we did the interview with the lovely ladies on the show, and yeah, it was cool. First timers, obviously, at the AGM, and we're very, very lucky because he's going to join us very soon. He sat next to us and kind of guided you and I along. But of course, we were there to conduct the interviews, mostly with Zoe. Also, we had Lani in there as well, but it was just to give everyone the kind of heads up how the day and a half kind of ran a process, whether it's from promoters, but also from the drivers' representatives as well. So, it was cool, bro. It was really good. And we got there, Thursday? You got there a bit ahead of me. We caught up with all the Speedway family down in the bar down there at the motel. And it was lovely, man. I enjoyed it.
Apart from all the bloody rain and it being Auckland, I'm sorry, Aucklanders, but man, I don't like paying $22 for two drinks. It just about breaks me in half, I tell you.
Yeah, city prices,
City prices and bloody city beer.
Do you, because you're down in the Hawke's Bay, do you go into Napier much to go out for dinner or anything like that? Is the prices or similarities from the times you may have been in to town?
Last time I went out, I don't think it was that expensive for a beer. Yeah. I don't know now, but I suppose I'm too used to going and buying a box of beer and sitting at home and quietly sipping away. But I suppose gone are the days when I used to go out clubbing and stuff, and it was $2.50 a pint and things like that. And it was a real pint. You don't get that anymore, do you? You get those flash little glasses or whatever they are.
Oh, mate. But, you get mixtures as well. I think the Levine's brought out some kind of espresso coffee type of drink as well.
I don't know, mate. Yeah, those. I won't say what sort of drinks I think they are, but I don't think a man should be drinking those. But anyway,
But that's Auckland. I would have loved to taken you into Central Auckland. You would have been an eye
I don't
opener.
know, mate.
You know,
I'm too bloody old school, I think. Shit.
I would have taken you to Fort Street. No, I'll leave it at that, mate.
Oh, no. I don't know. I mean, it was good. It was good fun and stuff, you know, like you've got to have a laugh about that stuff, don't you, mate, at the end of the day? And listen, it's a one-off for us. Well, not one-off, but one-off for me for the year. You know, I'm not going to go out and do that again in a hurry. If I do it again next year, it's in Christchurch, but we'll wait and see. But, yeah, it was a great experience, mate. And, and we got Stu Russell coming to join us very, very shortly, and he was invaluable in helping us understand a lot, or helping me understand a lot of stuff. I was waiting for him to get sick of me asking too many bloody questions, to be honest with you. You know, I was always, because I just wanted to know what was going on. Sometimes I got a bit lost, and he was very helpful, very, very good, very good person to have sitting beside us to explain things for us that we'd never seen, because you do get a little bit lost. I mean, you might not have, Kins, I know, because you're around that sort of scene with the council and stuff like that. But for myself, the whole experience was very, very new to me. And I was very impressed by it. And I hope by the end of this tonight's show that people that are watching get to understand just how some of the processes work and how well they work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was hard. And I put myself in the same equation as newly appointed director Peter Rees. Because I've got a council background, I have a tendency to want to, like you, Booker, ask questions. It was hard, because I had to sit there as an observer and just sit there and take it all in. But I wanted to question stuff, and I had to think to myself, I'm not in a bloody council chamber now. So I had to sit back. But I was enjoying the to and fro, because I was like the meat and the sandwich stuck in the middle between you and Stu. But I was listening to the questions you were asking Stu and his reply back to it as well. And then about 2 seconds later, it would come up from the front as well, or out there.
Yeah, he was bang on most of the way.
Bang on.
Yeah, it was hard case. Yeah, that's the bit too. It's like, oh, we just said that. If I put $1 on everything Stu said, mate, we would have had our alcohol covered, courtesy of Stu Russell. We better tell him he owes us some money.
But just to wrap it up before we do bring Stu in, I just want to acknowledge all the Kiwi drivers around the circuits out there as well, from Gizzy to Dixon. What a weekend that was for motorsport. I think that all unfolded on Monday, our time here in New Zealand. So Kiwis out there on top of the pedestal, representing our little country in their form of motorsports as well. So great acknowledgement to those other Kiwi drivers out there. Didn't quite go the way of Liam Lawson. Got a bit, the bumper hit his track and he hit his car, nearly went up the wall. But Gizzy and Dixon did it for us. Yeah. Well, Gizzy's just out the gate at the moment in NASCAR, and I can't wait to see when he gets those ovals right, mate. Seriously. It's going to be very, very interesting to watch, and I think that if he starts to get too good on the ovals, I think they'll start taking him out myself. But we'll wait and see what happens, I suppose, eh? But the Kiwis in motorsport around the world, mate, they nail it, and we are just excelling in everything we're doing. It makes you very proud, and the All Blacks won, so you know it's a very proud time to be a Kiwi. It's not really ever not a proud moment to be a Kiwi. I mean, I'm always proud to be a Kiwi, but yeah, it just gives you a bit of a lift, doesn't it, mate, when you know they're all doing so well out there. Yeah. All right, we'll bring Stu in. He's sitting there nice and quiet there as well, and we're going to welcome him there. It's a bloody Pumas boo. No. Hey, Stu, welcome into the show, mate. Good to have you, and thank you for taking some time out to join us. And again, on behalf of Booker and I, thank you for sitting next to us at the AGM on the Friday and the part of Saturday. Just quickly, though, before we get into motorsports, though, mate, at State of Origin 3, do you follow the rugby league?
Yeah, of course, mate. Queensland are going to win. We're going to go 2-1.
We're going to take them off now. No. Pumas and Queensland. Bloody hell.
Stu's connection just dropped. What the hell happened? There he is. Shit. Why did I ask that question?
Hey, we're not here to muck around. We get that answer well and truly.
So the Queenslanders, by how much you reckon tonight, mate?
It's close in Origin every game, isn't it? It'll go 8 points.
Yeah. 8 points, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you books?
I think he's only going to... But should be saying New South Wales because of a mate from Levin, Jimmy Tamo, was a blues man.
Yes, yeah.
you know, you grow up as a Queenslander, you got to back it all the way through, eh?
Well, that's right too. But I lived over there on the Gold Coast. I was a Blues supporter. Shit, I used to have fun on the days and building up to it, eh? But I don't know. I don't think they'll be much in it, to be honest. I think this year those teams are extremely close, and it's going to come down to. I think it'll come down to one or other team making a defining moment play, you know, and I think that's how it'll be. Because this season, I think this year we've seen it closer than it ever has in a long time, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's not much points in it. The reality, the second game, it was only a couple of kicks in it, really. So in New South Wales, it'll be a big one. And the Queenslanders, no doubt, will be jumping in the comments, jumping up and down. The other part I want to ask you, yesterday morning, whether people lost patience or not, there were people, and I don't believe they still do this, Stu. They sit outside on their chairs for hours upon hours, get tickets for the biggest event on dirt. It's the teams went on sale, but didn't go smoothly for some, or for a lot, I would guess, Stu, just one of those hiccups.
Yeah, hey, you're always going to get that with these new ticketing agencies, eh? And I think a few people have touched on it, that obviously it is the venue, it's not the promotion that changes ticket outlets. We just roll with it. Unfortunately, it does kick back on promotion, but we're always there to help. Well, the team, especially Amanda, always there to help. And I think I heard yesterday at Smoko when I was at the track over in the Bay, they were lined up about 6 o'clock in the morning when Philippa was heading off to work. She said that she went past, and they were lined up about 6 o'clock in the morning.
I believe Maru Goodley, Legacy Media, got there just after 2 or something in the morning, and he wasn't the first one lining up.
Wow, there you go. It's unreal.
And they have that every year in Hawke's Bay over at Napier, but this time it was in Hastings. But yeah, he said he wasn't the first to be lined up, which you think, holy heck, eh? You know, like
that's crazy.
It is crazy, because I was talking about on the radio the other day in context of a sport like this one, particularly we're talking about the big event coming up in February. I don't think the All Blacks have queues of people standing up anymore. I don't think anything does it like that. I'm not even sure, to be honest, if concerts even do it, where people will stay the night before and queue up for hours upon hours just to get a bloody ticket. It's interesting. I couldn't believe with modern technology, hey, but that shows the... what would you say? How would you say this? The commitment, I would guess, for people for that actual event. But some parts of me think maybe the stupidity.
Yeah. Well, I see Maru's just put in there. It was actually 11:30 p.m. Monday night he got there, and he wasn't the first one. But you got to take it in context. He's got these people that queue up, like the likes of for Maru. He's also taking a day off work.
Exactly.
So he's taking a holiday off work to go and buy Teams tickets. That's commitment. And that's what Teams fans are like throughout the whole country. And that's why that event is what it is. You know, I mean, we used to queue up for tickets all the time back in the day, but it was outside the gate drinking beer. You know, it was a little bit different. I mean, I know that you want to go at 11:30 the night before outside a ticket tech and start drinking before you go and get your ticket.
Mate, then you'd be literally ordering like they were online with the wrong amount of tickets and child tickets to adults. It makes no difference if you're lining up on the internet.
just while we're in context of talking in particular around this event, Stu, we're glad we got you on there because you're one of the commentators down there. We all know that. But the whole deal from last year's event with the 6-car thing, the atmosphere, the energy, from race one, mate, it just turned upside down. Cars are rolling. It was just a different energy earlier this year at that event.
Yeah. This year was probably one of the best, most interesting, entertaining.
Yeah.
It had everything: the 6 cars, controversy, atmosphere, big hits. Like this would be probably one of the best ones we had in the last 5 to 10 years. That was cool this year. And I don't know whether it was. I don't know. I think there was a bit of everything. The 6 cars definitely added it.
Yeah, the dynamic
on track, and I think that just sprawled into the off track. Everyone just pumped and happy and getting excited about it. That's what I think made it. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be part of the reason why things crashed at Event Finder yesterday as well. Just that excitement level of what the event brought this year. Yeah, it was an eye-opener. Everyone, I tell you what, and we talked about A-Books afterwards, everyone got bang for buck, man. You got your money's worth. And Yeah, it was brilliant. Talking of getting money's worth, obviously you were sitting next to us up there at the AGM, mate. And how good was that? You know, for Booker and I, was a eye opener for us because you got to see track promoters, driver representatives, but just to have the whole thing unfold on us, and you see the directors doing all their little roles, mate. How cool was that?
Yeah, it was cool, and you know, listening to you guys on the intro. Yeah, don't pump me up too much because I was bluffing my way through that just as much as you guys to an extent. that was my first AGM as well. But obviously I sort of just know the background of what happens and I've heard it and seen a few things locally. But that was cool, and it was cool to actually see those processes that everyone talks about or that we get told every year. This is what happens. It was cool to see them in place, and it was you know, and how it literally is the competitors making the rules. It's not Speedway New Zealand going this rule or we want this or we need to do that or blah 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 blah. It's literally the people that are out there on track, driving the cars, submitting the rules, voting the rules at their local track, and then they get voted on at the national stage at the AGM. So to see that actually being proven it was cool.
Mm-hmm. I would guess, Books, you'll be similar to me as well. What we got to see when it came to kind of the voting process, whether it was a track promoter sitting next to his or her driver as such, whether it was a red or a green or whatever, it didn't indicate that it actually agreed because they came from the same track. We saw some differences, some unbalance there, Books?
Yeah, that was the bit that got me because I thought, oh yeah, you know, you have your driver delegate and your track delegate, which is generally your promoter. And you think, well, they'll stick together and they'll vote together to make it better. But that's not how it works. And that's the thing I loved about it, was that you had the driver delegate going against the promoter delegate or vice versa, you know. And that's what democracy is all about, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day, we all sit back and we write on our keyboards, oh, why the SN do this and SN do, but it's not them, like Stu said, it's not them doing it. It's a process of drivers and the delegates of the promotion or whoever goes to vote. And I think that difference between the two is good. And I think what people got to realise is a remit. If we start from the start, the remit gets put in, and then you go to conference, obviously, you know, and then Lani and Zoe are up the front as they should be where they're at, and a remit comes up and they go, can I get a mover, which means somebody to vote for this to go ahead, just to start it, and then someone to second it. Now, if you don't get a mover or a seconder, then that remit gets dropped. So what that means is that everybody in that room thinks this isn't worth changing or having anything to do with, and that's a representative. That's two people from every track, you know. So if it can be pushed out before it even gets the vote process started. So that's the bit that I thought as well was interesting, that even though the remit's been submitted, it's not necessarily going to get a vote on it if it doesn't get a mover and a second to put it through into that process. So that was my first interesting view there. I was like, oh, wow, okay. You know, because we didn't actually see that happen until, I don't know, probably 20 rebits, I suppose, was it, Stu? And then they started to get refused. But those first early ones, everybody was like, yep. And I thought, oh, this is how it goes all the way through. And then that changed. And I thought, there you go. There's another process. So even though your club or whoever or person or individual puts a remit through, it may not actually get past, it gets to conference, but it may not get to that next step.
Yeah. And obviously, I mean, those ones that lapsed or how did Lani put it? As I think she used the term fell.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was quite cool. We were talking about that at one of the lunch breaks when we had to depart the room for them to all to talk about other matters. And I think one of them mentioned it was quite cool using the term fell. It's like a fallen soldier. But that remit, I guess that remit would have been voted no anyway. So if it got a mover and a seconder, I would say 99% chance it probably would have been voted against regardless. Hence, no one moving or seconding it to even come to the table. But yeah, there's obviously you submit the remit or the competitor submits the remit through their track, and then all what do we have this year? 89 remits.
Oh yeah.
So all 89 remits go out to the tracks, and they call a remit meeting. And some tracks unfortunately get no one turn up. It's one or two people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
tracks get 10, some tracks get 30. The unfortunate thing is as I heard a lot from a lot of people, is it is disappointing to hear the number of people attending those track remit meetings.
Yeah.
I think they need to be attended a lot more. From what I heard through the course of the weekend, is a lot of tracks aren't getting the turnout, and it's like any form of voting. You don't vote, then to me you don't really get a say. And so I guess once those remit meetings happen at the track, and that's where the competitors get to have their say, and the competitor delegate takes that vote to the AGM. And you mentioned obviously the promoters, some of the promoters and some of the competitor delegates don't vote the same. Obviously it was quite rare, as we saw, but that doesn't mean that that's a bad thing for that track. Some competitors don't understand some things, and therefore they vote no, or they'll vote yes, and they don't understand the remit properly. Whereas the promoter might have had a conversation later in the week, or managed to find out who submitted the remit. And there was big talk about putting names to remits, or putting tracks to remits at least. I think would be the ideal situation, so that going forward, you're not sure about remit number 32. Cool. Ring up Palmerston North and say, hey, look, you guys have got a remit to your name. What's it mean? What's it all about?
I would guess you're right. If there's some indication of who may have submitted the remit and they stand up and talk to it, gives a bit more clarity to what the actual remit might read different in the book, and your take from it could be a lot different compared to them explaining it. You might get a better understanding. That's a great way that they're talking amongst that, because I got to say, the future of Speedway in the light of drivers and promoters, the younger ones I'm talking about here, very, very vocal, Stu. I'm not afraid to talk, and I can see a real bright future ahead. I was like you in the back and wanting to say stuff. And you can't, obviously, because you're an observer, and you're sort of wanting to voice a bit of opinion. And I thought that our driver's representative done bloody well for what he was tasked with. And the likes of Scott Tennant, Callum Flavel, Lexi Levine, Daniel Burmeister, those are I'm trying to think of who was young, but there was Aaron Humble was there. And then you've got the next sort of younger ones. I'll even include Regan O'Brien and that sort of phase.
You'll love that.
Well, hey, but that's when you compare to some of the older ones, again, it was like we had sort of three phases. You got the older ones, the next ones, and then the younger ones coming through. And I know myself, I've got a goal, and I'd like to be sitting at the table as a promoter delegate one day. I've got sort of no fuss on racing or being in the box too long. It would be cool to do that sort of stuff. That's my passion. I want to do that. And so it was good to learn, and it's good to see that there is those younger ones there coming through, and the debate, well, not debate. Well, it is debate, but it's healthy debate. It was everything was really positive in there. From those younger ones was great.
Do we think, like you talk about it being positive, and I thought that too, to be honest with you, Stu, that I one thing I noticed was, I suppose I go back to what I was told to expect by people that have been years gone by, and the way it was handled. Sometimes it's yelling and blah, blah, blah. And I said to some people while we were there, I said, do we think it's because to me there was a lot of laughter and fun and joviality and stuff, and people were enjoying themselves, and it looked very... Although there was some discussion, you wouldn't call it heated, but it was certainly a discussion that wasn't like light discussion, but it wasn't heated discussion, so to speak, like they weren't going at each other, And I talked to people and said, what do you think? Was it like this? I said, oh, no, it wasn't. And I said, do you think that the attitude towards how everybody was this weekend, or that weekend just gone, was because they have a bit of confidence in the current committee? So it makes them feel more positive when they're putting this stuff through. I mean, my thoughts are that maybe, the majority of the room was happy with the committee that we've got on board now for SNZ, and that's why everything sort of flowed so nicely. What do we think of that, guys? Stu?
Yeah. I thought the way that Lani and Zoe fronted at the top were great, and obviously there was a director or a head steward or head tech or etc. at each table as well. They're spread between the room, and I think that could be it. I love there was some, as I say, it was all healthy, really positive debate. I really like how people did give their feelings across when they didn't like something, but there was no aggro in it. Everyone, it was just like a speedway night. Everyone went out, took each other out on the track, and then they had a beer in the club rooms afterwards. It's exactly if someone's like, that's stupid, like we'll be going backwards if we do that. Why are we changing things? But then at the same time, it was kind of like but something does need to change. Just not maybe that way. So let's do a working group.
And that, to me, that bit, what you just said there, working group, that was another process I thought was fantastic. I think people out there should know, which is the fact that when we can't agree on something, someone suggests, well, how about we do a working group? There's a teams working group now getting developed around teams rule. And I think that process where they say, okay, we can't work it out now, so let's do this to make sure that it's still the process will work in the end, And that's just great for our sport, because we're not saying the ball's not going, that's it, we're done, we can't come to a decision. There's still a process after that keeps it going, And I love that factor. The whole lot, mate. It just blew my mind. I was really, really impressed, to be honest, with everything. I don't think there was a bit that didn't impress me.
We saw that. I think it was remits 59 through 60 something, the open wheel rules to do with their starts and restarts and racing rules and bits and pieces. There was, like 9-10 remits that were basically the same thing. And by the time each one got voted through and discussed, man, we would have been there for hours just on those 9 remits. And they asked, can we defer this to tomorrow? Let's get together 8 o'clock in the morning. Every track that was involved in those remits, because that's the one thing I actually learned, was not every track is involved in every remit. We'll get to that part, but the open wheel lot, they got together, they had their meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning, rewrote the remit so that everything that people had submitted, which were all positive, put them into one, pass it as one, rather than rewriting 5 or 6 of them for this one, then move on to the next one, 3 of them into one. Like, it was really good the way they done it. And saving a working group, they done it on the day.
Yeah. And what surprised me too, once we went to that break, that working group, especially around that team side of it, pretty well got together. They were hunting down one young man that spoke so much around it, but they got a group of them all together and they were sitting out there in the corner while we were out there having a bit of a break, which was really cool. Working groups is the way to go forward. I've been experienced with this through the council side of things, and that's how we do. In exactly the same process. We can't make a decision. Create a working group, let them work on it, and see how we can figure this all out. At the other end of the scale, we may talk about the future and the younger generation coming on through with the passion like yourself, Stu. But there's one lady I want to recognize in tonight's show, and her name is Wendy Coots. Wow. I don't know where to start with this lady who's had multiple years. Yeah, very impressed. And we call her like the mother figure at the SNZ level with the directors and everything. And when she spoke, it was like a mum. He didn't answer back. He pretty well sat there, and she would say, anyone going to ask him? Like hell, no one was going to say anything. He would have got the old, well, as the Islanders would say, got the old jandle, But, man, powerful lady, mark of respect from everyone inside there. And rightfully naming rights to an award. We'll touch on that a bit later. But what an awesome lady, eh?
Yeah. How cool was she and obviously she's only just been called back onto the board after a couple of a board member left or a couple left or something. So for her to come back on and and get the respect straight away and to have a voice straight away, she was good. And I also like the fact obviously as observers the life members can talk, so we had Peter Kuriger and Sonia Hickey were there. And again, they had some valuable input, and also my way I saw it as well is they kept everyone honest. They kept the board honest, they kept the competitors honest, and sort of something would come up and they're like, well, hang on a minute, if you do this, it contradicts this, and Especially Peter Guriger. He was great to listen to.
Yeah,
Very good to listen to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He had it all backed up in his little suitcase of
Oh,
tricks and everything,
mate,
man. He had it there.
Yeah, he was very, very. I tell you what, the microphone got a well and true workout around the room.
So for those who weren't there, they had a box microphone, like a sponge with a box, and he had a couple of them from memory in there, and they were passing it like a rugby ball from back and forth. I think it was might have been Lexi was the only one that may have dropped it actually under the whole day and a half. But I tell you what, there's some good catching skills. Hand and eye coordination was at its best. Could have helped out maybe the All Blacks that Saturday night, but other than that, yeah, it was a really cool setup how they did all that, a bit of ambience music going on there as well. And mate, it was really cool. But just to see everyone there, look, they had a lawyer there as well, who gave you the inside of the law termination of all of this, how it actually sat in the law side, which was cool. You know, Jason was there doing all his little updates on the old computer, eh? It was really cool. And he had Shara doing the secretarial work as well. Right.
There was actually, a couple of times where the lawyer got up, and I think we were talking about the teams rule and the format of how many cars and how many cars on track, and just clearing that up, because obviously it's a format we've used the last 2 years, but it hasn't officially been a rule. Like it's actually been we've gone against the rule book.
Yes.
And he actually brought up, well, that's cool. Like what you're doing is great, health and safety wise, all that sort of stuff, but if you bring that in, there's actually a rule that you guys have forgot to delete. So that's around the sixth driver, which everyone's like, well, let's just delete it. Positivity. Everyone's like, we'll just get rid of it. Don't worry about it. But obviously, it still has to follow a process. Hence why the teams groups being made to just clean up a few of those little things.
And that was a big thing too, wasn't it? That some of the remits were contradicting other rules. So it had to be cleaned up. So what for people out there, so that process I talked about just before, which was the you get a person to nominate it and then second it to go through, then people can go and put in ask for a change to that remit that's been stated. Amendment. That's the word. Thank you, Stu. So then they can put in an amendment to that rule, and if they do that, then another track that might not have put in says we like that rule, but we just want to see this little bit of a change in the wording to that rule. So they'll put an amendment in, and then that gets put in, and then they vote on the amendment. And then once the amendment passes, then they vote on the remit. But what we saw was people put an amendment in and then vote against the remit that they put an amendment in for. And I said to one of them, why the hell are you just asked for that to go in there and then you voted against it. And the point is that they put a bit of a back safe in to the remit by that, here's this bit I want to put in. I don't really want this rule in, but if it goes through, we've got a bit of it that we can deal with, so it's like a backup plan. And I think that whole process, that's how it works, And everybody was arguing against one of the remits, one of the changes to the remit there. And we thought, oh, shit, look at this. They're all against this. They want it to go this way. And they changed it. And everyone was happy with that. And then they all voted it out. I was like, what the hell? You just all wanted to change it to that. But everybody in the room was just covering themselves, weren't they? And then when it came to time to vote the extra remit, it was like, nah, we don't want that.
That's where like you say, so your competitor delegate, especially, probably not so much your promoted delegate, because they kind of, I wouldn't say think for themselves, but they make their decision. But your competitor delegate, they might go to the remit with a no vote and being like, okay, we're going to vote no for this remit. An amendment happens, and all of a sudden it's like, actually, that's actually better, and they might vote yes for it. So that's where your competitor delegate shouldn't just be anyone. They've got to be a competent person themselves to know that the decision they're going to make, if they have to change one, if they have to change a decision, that it's going to be beneficial for the competitors, one, at their track, and then two, obviously, for the class in general. Because I know, there were some that had to change, and not even just with amendments, with further discussion. You have a discussion, and it's like, oh, that's not how we read the rule. All of a sudden, it's like, that's okay. No, we see how the rule's going. You talk with other tracks before the meeting starts itself. So you've got your competitor delegate can't just be, taking turns each year, and maybe they can, but they've got to be someone competent of decision making and have the future of the sport in their own minds as well.
Definitely. So we've spoken a fair bit in depth around this. There was a fair bit of chat around the teams, everything brought in with the flat tire, the blah, blah, blah. Stock car teams was discussed, especially the ruling on so close to the line where they're going to go forward. If you want to go and find out more what we've spoken about, go along to the speedway.co.nz website. You can actually see on there the AGM pack. This booklet is actually available online. All right, from the President's report right through to the hours of sitting, standing orders. Our 3 names are in there on the attendees list, but everything from remits, GB, and all that type of stuff is on there. The appeal panel nominations. Congratulations to all of those who got through. And, of course, the other special thing we did there on the Saturday was induct some great people into our sport, life members. Yeah. How cool was that, The emotions rode high for one of the ladies up the front there, but what a great way to recognise those who have given decades to the sport, Stu?
Yeah, it's cool. It's very, very cool seeing. Just trying to think. We had obviously Davy Jones, Michael Provo. And just reading their nominations, especially Michael's in the thing and what he's done for motorcycle speedway in general. That was massive. And then obviously you had Davy Jones, former Speedway New Zealand president, and over there at Miani does a great job. So it's cool to obviously have them voted through as life members. They obviously have to leave the room during voting process. And yeah.
It's our role.
I think a good part of that too was when they went through that where the one person stands up and talks about the nominee for the life membership, and they talk about their achievements and what they've done. And the thing that came to light to me for that was Davy Jones put in a lot of years as a Speedway New Zealand president, and now they have the Speedway presidency now as a no more than 4-year term or something, a bit like the presidency of the United States, because they find that people burn out. Yeah, and that happens. And a lot of people I've heard people put Davy Jones down for the later years as a president, but they forget the good that was done by him before he started to have that burnout effect. And the reality of it is that this happens to people. You can be at a point where you jump into a new position like this of any organisation, and you're positive and you're keen and you're ready to go, and then for years you do, and then you get to a point where you plateau, I think, and then that's where you start not doing as good a job as you used to. And everybody forgets about those previous years where you did such a great job, And I think we need to recognise that for some of these old presidents that were in the process, and for SNZ, that maybe their tenure was a bit long and we forget about the good. So let's just take a minute to appreciate what they did before they plateaued, so to speak, and that's what came to light for me in those nomination processes, because I really do have seen that where people give everything they can give, and let's face it, being in a high position in our sport, the amount of shit you must take, seriously, like I've seen the amount of shit we've taken just here on Kokpit over the years, and we're just trying to promote the sport. So imagine what someone that's in that high position has to deal with, and it's got to wear you down. So let's just show some appreciation for previous presidents of Speedway New Zealand and for the years there where they were good before they plateaued. It's a huge achievement for all of them.
Yeah, we've had some good ones over the years, haven't we? Obviously, David Jones, PK, Ricky, we've got Lani in there now. We've had some Spike Richardson.
Yes.
We've had some good presidents. I mean, well, they're all good. Everyone has their own ways of doing things at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, we know they're all there for the passion of the sport, whether they may have made right choices, wrong choices at the time. It's no different to any presidency or prime ministerial even being a councillor, Akins.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, exactly, mate. Even being a president of a rugby club, you take your knocks with some of that stuff, and that's actually part of the reason that some of us actually will step away from those positions, because you get to a point where it's just enough, and hats off to everyone involved, because those names you mentioned, Stu, they've all had something good. Otherwise, they wouldn't have got the role, because they got to get nominated into those kind of roles. So, yeah, check it out and do support them, and appreciate everything they do, especially at the directors level. Then at the end of it all, we had the Fidelity Fund, minutes and financials, but I won't talk to Stu about the Fidelity Fund, what I said that was on the afternoon. Anyway, Dave Thomas, mate, how are you? Thanks, Mr. Dykstra. Yeah, we enjoyed ourselves. Wayne Wog Martin, it was great to catch up with you, mate. Enjoyed having a good chat. Samuel Ashton, Jason Wilson, Bevan Gilgore, Thomas Scott. Oh, Stu's watching himself. Simon Smith, Robbie Mabing, Jason Wilson, Peter Rose, Madu Goodley, Barry Hunter, Terry Smith. Yeah, rest in peace to Merv Julian, 72S modified from back in the day out of Stratford. Richard and Trudy, thanks for that. Jeff Kite, how's the car going, mate? You still got it on sale? Thanks for the congrats. Who else we got in here? Hayden Patton, he's going well. Actually, yeah, he is going well too. Well done, Morgan. Yeah, recognizing Morgan there. Thanks for that lapping. Mike Adamson, good to catch up with Mike. Up the bloody Maroons. Look what I started. Anyway, I'm going past all of that bloody rugby league stuff now. Yeah. Dave Thomas, Kinser for mayor. No, mate, I can't go for mayor, Dave. Sorry. Not at this coming election. My wife won't let me.
No.
That's the truth. My wife won't let me. She will call a spade and tell you to your face what she thinks.
Yeah, she's not a Muriel wife or politician's wife. That one.
No,
I think it's for the safety of Kins.
Yeah, it is. She is not going to do a cutesy to you. Nana Gale, how you going? Riley William, Mike Johnson, how are you? Scott Honeybone. Everyone, thank you for watching. We'll move on through now to getting all dressed up, mate. And we all got our spick and span on, looked pretty sharp in our number ones. It was all about celebrating all of the finalists, but celebrating Speedway New Zealand achievements overall. HG was pretty cool. Look at that. He's got
it was mint. I was going to say, who got what trophy?
I got the one that he got the one that you presented us, Stu. Yep. So the Humphreys one, sponsored one, online presence, and I got the TWS sponsored Best Media Support, sponsored by TWS. While we're talking about that, I don't know if Kins.
I told you I'd see you on the stage.
Yeah. Look, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest. Kins sort of told everybody that I was being a sookie sook, but yeah, I'm old school so we don't show emotion, us old fellas.
Whatever.
And when we got called out, it actually, I got quite emotional about it, to be honest. I was like, wow, this is, So I got up there and talked and said my piece, and Kin said his piece, and away we went. That was the first one that you presented to us, Stu. And then I said, got back to table, I said to Kins, I said, geez, actually, I got a bit emotional there for that one. I don't know what the hell's going on, Maybe too many beersies or something, I don't know. But then we were sitting there, and the second one came up, and I said, look, there's no frickin' way that we're going to get the second one. And they said our name, and I just sort of sat in my chair in disbelief. Kins had gone. He was off. And I thought, oh, shit, I better get going, And so he was already up there talking by the time I got up there. And I just stood in the back just like I just couldn't believe it, Like it really did blow me away that we got the second one. And I could hear them talking about our charity work and stuff like that. And it's something that we do every year with our charity stuff. And it was a real privilege to be nominated and a privilege to be part of the finalist place for both awards, in my opinion. Kins will give you his views in a sec. And it was a real honour to be recognised for what we've done the last 3-4 years, because we haven't been around a long time, but we seem to have accelerated quite quickly into what we do. And it was good that we sort of realised that there are a few people tell me stories and told Stu stories, and for ages we weren't really talking to each other So it was good to sit down and get away from the bullshit and stop listening to people and have Stu present the award to us, with both us knowing that all the shit we've been told, exactly that. So thank you, Stu, for presenting that, and I appreciate it. So, and everyone that have nominated us and all the other people out there that were doing that won awards, awesome. And to see the solo driver win, solo rider win driver of the year, rider of the year, the sportsman of the year, that was awesome.
Mm.
Yeah,
All right.
I told Vanessa I wanted to present the HSP one because it's the only chance I get to hold one of those trophies.
What were your views on it, Kins, when we got the awards, mate?
Yeah. I already knew, mate. They rang me up and told me before I got there.
Shit.
I already knew. I said, just keep it quiet. Don't tell my mate, eh? Look, everyone deserved to be a finalist because they put so much into it. We just sit here like we're doing right now, talking to our fans who are watching the show. We give you the updates week in and week out on Speedway, but not only Speedway, other motorsports. But we're just doing what we're doing now, talking with the passion and love that we have for the sport. But to be sitting amongst all of those who spend tens of thousands of dollars on those race cars that entertain the fans that turn up during the Speedway season, you got to give recognition to that, because there's their families that sacrifice it all. There is also the crews that live in the shed, let alone them. They've still got to turn over income to live and survive day in day. But for us too, mate, Books, just looking at you, and I sat next to you, I thought, oh, yeah, this is for you, mate. This is really cool. It was really pleasing when I walked up on the stage and we got our first one to see Stu, because I got high respect for Stu, and I've enjoyed Stu's commentary. I'm not talking up a whole lot, whatnot, Stu, but I enjoy listening to you commentate, mate, because I've gone as Palmy for so many years and hear you up there, and I've heard you around other areas. I thought, this is quite an honour to grab our first part of our trophy from you, mate. So thank you for doing that on behalf of Humphreys. And then the other part, when we went back up again, to get it from a family that we highly respect in the sport, that's given so much in all the areas of the sport for a very, very long time. And to get there from Kendall, Ashton, Hemingway, and it's the Ashtons I want to talk about here, because they picked up an award and they deserve that, to get there from Kendall and yourself, Drew, that was pretty cool, actually, to get it from both you two, because I have that family in high regards in the sport, and yourself, mate. But overall, to everyone, taking nothing away from anyone, mate, they all deserved it because of what they've done to entertain us as race fans. They put our bums on the side of the track to support them, and it was a really good night, I don't mind dressing up. I'm used to it. Obviously, I've got to do it once a month at council and everything like that, but yeah, I was happy for my mate here. I was just over the moon, and to look at the Gizzy lot in front of us just piling the piss on the table.
Oh,
mate.
Gizzy and Wanganui.
Far out. And Pete Rees to be sitting with us as well, another guy that I look at that's done so much, especially in the contact class on the track. He's won shitloads, mate, and he builds good race cars, obviously. They're proven. And to have him there giving Books an eye cheek, and I won't get into the context of words he was saying, but it was a fun night. Celebration. It was really cool. And man, there was some hot looking babes there, I gotta say.
Yeah, see, Stu, like me, you just put your head. Oh, kids.
Here's another reason why Kins can't be the mayor.
But the irony of it all is that starting next Wednesday, Trackside with Kokpit is going to be brought to you by TWS and Vasey Engineering. So to win the award of Lala's, and now he's going to back the show for us be the naming man for Trackside for the year, is very, very cool. And he'd made that decision before we'd won the award, by the way. It wasn't because we won the award. I'd already had a message. I said, what was it? That day, Kins, I got a text, was it? Or the Friday?
Yeah.
Vasey Engineering and TWS are going to be our naming rights for Trackside with Kokpit for this season and off-season and building into the season. So we'd like to thank them for coming on board with us. Very excited because the likes of Vasey, when you look at those two outfits, and even you would know, Stu, they both give so much back to this sport, don't they? I mean, TWS, I can't think of I wouldn't like to think of a number he's given over the years. And Paul at Vasey Engineering helps so many people out in the speedway scene.
Yeah, they do, don't they? I mean, it's I had a good chat with Vase through this year because obviously he was a part of the very first Pumas team, and and to have a chat with him about what that time meant to him and things like that, and obviously, yeah, TWS and Lala, we quite know them often with the World 240s and that whole Ashton family. They're a good sort, eh? And you add in obviously Todd on the side kind of thing as well, and yeah, they've got the three super stocks there, and you mentioned Kins, they won that award, and I hope Sammy has a good future as well, and whatnot. Obviously, he had a good run at Rotorua, and I hope he gets another crack somewhere because we need those young people in. So I hope that fruitions into something else for him because yeah, that family, like you say, they've got a whole lot to give, and well, they have given a whole lot, and they're good people to have around our sport.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, the future's bright. You saw young Flinny sitting next to us. He was dancing away on there thinking he was at a bloody nightclub. But yeah, the future does look bright, especially as we touched on earlier on at the AGM level. These younger ones are not afraid to talk to the remits as well and ask the questions. If you don't ask the question, you don't know the answer. They're learning as well as many others. And to see the younger generation come through from the young kids that got up on the stage to collect their trophies, it was pretty cool, and yeah, everyone well-deserved is a finalist. Everyone else,
Oh, because the sound just went.
I did it?
Oh, it's coming back again now.
Oh, okay. See?
Just choking up again, mate.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I've got some of those babes messaging me. That's why. Oh, shit. Here's my number. Give us a ring later.
Yeah. You don't even know their name. You're probably old enough to be Koro.
Yeah. And the other thing, he's only sitting there saying this, Stu, because his wife doesn't watch the show and she's obviously not home.
Yeah, she's in the bedroom at home. But nah. What else you got here before I get myself in trouble? Davey, a long-time TQ pilot, correct there. Madu, Jackie Miller, how are you? Well done to everyone from Lappy. Ams, you look, mate, we appreciate your week you've done with us with the Speedway Excellence Awards. That's not forgotten. Did you go to training last night, Stu, from Emron? Did you go to training?
Yeah, bro, a couple of laps around the track. Yesterday. Yep.
Stu, will you head down to Nelson? Will you be part of the NZ Street Stock Championship by any chance? Oh, no, you'll be in Wellington with the Super Stocks, won't you?
Yeah, they're the same weekend.
No, week after.
They've got
week after.
They've got Jody down there, mate. They don't need me.
Right.
You can hear Jody all around the Tasman area.
He's training.
He's quite a hard case fellow. I got to meet him and talk with him and do stuff with him in the Rees tour. Yeah, he's a good fella. I like him.
Awesome.
Yeah,
he is awesome.
Yeah.
Daniel Chalk, is it the Puma year this season? Is it Stu from Daniel Chalk?
I hope so.
I hope so. Hey, Kylie.
We started on a good roll at the end of the season, so we're just going to carry it through now.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, no, it was a bloody good night Saturday, to be honest, with the celebration of everything. And like I say, everyone from all walks of life. And I got to say, I got a surprise from quite a few of those winners, especially the motorbike class, who got quite a bit through Ruapuna Speedway. As Booker said earlier on, the whole driver of it, we just kind of sometimes sit in our own little wheel and think it's going to be a super stock person, a sprint car person, or midget something. But then a motorbike gets announced. It's like, how cool, it's different.
Yeah. But he earned it though, eh? Like when you look at what they said for what he had achieved as a competitor, doesn't matter what he's driving, what he achieved, was out the gate exceptional, wasn't it, Stu?
Yeah, it was. Probably just around the competitor awards, and I mean, like, I'm not fussed who wins what, because everyone does a great result, a great job to get the accolades. But I think it would be quite cool to see how they do it, just on the competitor side of things anyway. You saw, it used to be back in the days, 1NZ got competitor of the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hands down. And I guess, too, the other thing that I kind of contradict myself here is the judges can only judge on what's put in front of them.
Yes.
If you write down that you got third at the New Zealand Champs, but you forget to mention that you won the Manawatu Champs and the Wellington Champs and the Hawke's Bay Champs and this and that and the other thing, well, they're not going to know those things. So if someone writes down that they won every regional title but got first at the North Islands, well, maybe they are going to win it because you know they've put more time into their nomination, or whoever nominated them, has put time into it. So yeah, that's probably another thing, because it is good to see not just the 1NZs winning everything. There was a few that picked them up this year, and they well deserved it. But probably maybe on the competitor of the year would be cool to see how they work it out. But then again, like I say, probably the way the nominations are written as well.
Yeah, I suppose.
I think. Oh, sorry.
I'll jump in quickly just to allude on a couple of things like Stu mentioned there, like Brad Lane example, 2NZ in the modifiers, cleaned up everything in the south, just about won everything you could think of, so deserved that part of it. Then you take a look at the super stocks, everyone kind of questioned Ethan Rees, but when you look at what he podiumed over the season, no, he didn't get in the top 3 DNZs, but he podiumed right up there overall. So yeah, I know what you're saying, mate. Yeah, it was really good to see that being recognised and amongst it. Sorry, Books, what were you going to say, mate?
Oh, I forgot now. I had it in my head, but it is, I think, like, Brad Lane. I mean, you said Brad Lane. I mean, he deserved. You talk about it like he was 1NZ last year and the year before that, and even with a back-to-back, he didn't get competitor of the year last year. But this year, he didn't get 1NZ, but he won everything else, so he got it. And I think a lot of it comes down to, like you said, Stu, when someone nominates someone or something for a category, they've got to put in detail what they've done or what they've achieved, because the judges don't get the name and go look at them up. They go by what's put in front of them. And so when you nominate someone, you've got to put all that information for them, And I love the fact you see all the pictures they put on the screens for, like it was like when we saw the induction for David Jones. Man, that was a young picture of David Jones. But Brad Lane's picture, the car's doing this down the straight.
Oh, how good was that? That was cool.
I mean, everybody looked at it and just went, yep, that's Brad Lane.
I think a lot of people went well with that one. Yeah.
So that's really cool. But I suppose what we should do is, we're getting close to a finish, but I just want to say we'll see what everyone's favourite sort of point and moment and who stood out for them over the 3 days. And I'll start. I think my standouts for me in the conference side of thing was Scotty Tennant. He blew my mind about how well spoken and intelligent that man is, and how much knowledge he's got inside that brain of his for motorsport and speedway. It blew me away. And the other one at the conference, was 2 that blew me away, was Wendy Coots. And the reason behind that was the amount of respect she had. But when you get someone explain something to you that knows a lot about a subject, sometimes that person can talk down to you because they're not really interested in explaining the processes. But when she had to explain something to do with the financial side of it, she spoke to you so that you could understand, and she did not talk down to you. And I have nothing but respect for people like that. And my highlight for the awards was obviously us winning, but my other highlight was Brad Lane and Gizzy getting the track, most improved track, because, as you know, I love going to Gizzy and I support them heaps. So that was my big thing. And, of course, Lala's best dressed. So, yeah, that was for me. Those 2 at the conference and in the night. And I actually got to admit, I did enjoy dressing up, to be fair. But I had a sick of having to wear shoes for 3 days. That was my downfall for the weekend, because I live in my jandals, as everyone knows. So I had to wear shoes for 3 days. And
Sean Smith had jandals on all weekend.
Yeah, I don't know how he got it. I was trying to be, I don't know, I was trying to show a bit of respect towards everything, So, but yeah. Well, Sean Smith, we even noticed he shaved for the night of the awards. So there you go. He took a took a bit of pride in himself. But yeah, those are my things. We'll start with you, Stu. What was your highlights and things for the 2-3 days, mate? What did you find that was most interesting to you?
You probably nailed it with Scotty T. Like, he's and I guess what we spoke on earlier, the future. If the 4 or 5 I mentioned and a few more come along, the future of those AGMs and tracks are going to be healthy if we get the involvement of those people. But we just need more people that we need the ones that aren't competitors as well, though, to go with it. The competitors is one thing. We need the ones that aren't competitors to go alongside of it. I quite enjoyed watching, obviously, how promoted Bruce. I mean, he was representing Waikaraka, but the way he just soaks everything in, and he might turn up a remort or 2 later. But he's good value. He's good value as our Bruce. And Ruapuna, the way that the way that they spoke was cool as well, and spearheading that open wheel thing. So yeah, it was good. I mean, there's probably a whole lot there, and the award side. Yeah, just I don't know, everything about the awards, I guess. We picked up Superstock teams for the promotional event, so we'll go with that one, eh?
All right,
Yeah.
mate.
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose for me, the highlight is before you even get into the AGM and the awards, having two ladies ask us to be part of the event is the biggest highlight for me. I would never have thought we'd be there in the capacity to do what they asked us to do. So that's the big highlight, is being approached by you know who to be part of this was massive for me. That's a huge milestone for our little show, to be in that situation to conduct the interviews and get the updates. Also being a finalist as well, moving into the awards and just being part of that. And I want to commend and thank the people behind the scenes that put on the awards. There's a lot of work. Look, we sit there and celebrate. We dress up to be part of the occasion. We do celebrate it. Don't get me wrong. It's a great event. But the highlight for me is thanking all of those people who do all that work to set up the tables, to set up the whole shindig of all of that. Means so much to me, because there's a lot of work. I've been involved with some of those background work, and thank you to each and one of those. So that's the highlight, is those who do that work, and also the work in the AGM. Putting that Bible thing together is huge.
Yeah.
And collating all of that. So my highlight overall, with both combined together, obviously aside from the awards, I'm going to be different, is everyone that puts that hard work together, because it doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot going into the remits, the tracks, and then you celebrate with the success. I won't say all the babes again, but the highlight is for me is everyone that puts all the work into the passion and the love that we have for the sport, which is Speedway. That's me.
Yeah, I guess probably a couple of people. I mean, there's probably more. I mean, but I know the likes of JDP and Monique with the AGM, and then obviously Philippa, a big part of the awards. So there's probably more, but those are the three people that stand out for me.
And quickly, just thanks to every single sponsor that got recognised at the end, because we can't do it without their generosity. Sorry, Stu.
Can I just mention one more thing before we wrap up? I know you're going to wrap up, and I know you guys are going to talk to Lani and Zoe at some point as well. But there was a video, and we had Brendan from St. John's speak.
Yes.
At AGM, and we don't have to go in depth of it, but there was a video or a slideshow that he played, and I think it's now. I think it was Fiona. Asked that it be made available to the tracks, and I hope that the tracks get a hold of it and play it at their sign-up nights or their own track meetings or opening night drivers briefing or something, because it was talking a lot about concussions, and we've had some not just at the end of the season, but Speedway's full of concussions at times, and I guess for me, moving into the team manager role and learning a bit more what some of our responsibilities are as well, especially now that St. John are wanting to step back a wee bit from doing concussion tests. And so now we need to know our drivers and, not let them make stupid decisions, but also we as managers not make stupid decisions. But I just hope that, the tracks get that and have a watch of it, because concussion's a real serious thing. And, I know for one, I don't want to see my mates in wheelchairs or vegetables or whatever happens, injuries over time as we get older and weaker, and we're watching the next lot come through, I think, a lot of the guys, I think Alan Levine got up and said, back in the day, and you all just got hard and toughened up. And, we go on about that mentality, especially as Kiwis, but we just have to be a bit more sensible, especially around concussion. It's starting to become a real big thing, and not just Speedway and all sports, but we need to start having a look at ourselves and making changes, and taking some personal responsibility as drivers and as families and friends to sort of help our drivers out. There was a big discussion after Brendan spoke, the St. John's man. So that's probably my message from AGM, aside from all the other stuff. It's just, think of this. It's very important. We've got one of them, and I know to my mates out there, I want to still be having my mates as coherent as possible when we get old and enjoy it on the banks.
I think the great thing about that too, Stu, was that the fact that with the St. John's thing, he pointed out in that thing about what to look for, things to look for, not just on the night, but in weeks after those hits and stuff like that. And that to me was the eye-opener, was how later on it can affect you. And then you go back out there and have that next big hit, not realising that what you were actually having was a concussion beforehand, which makes it worse. And we had Nick Beasley stand up and talk about how he had them when he was driving that. And that was well over 10 years ago. Yeah. And they're affecting them now, you know. So we've got to be more aware out there, and our drivers and our mates got to step up, stop our mates from getting back in those cars. How often have we seen it where we know our mates had a big knock the week before and the week before, and we still say, "Yeah, get in there, mate. You'll be right." You know, or we don't say anything. We just sit back and say nothing. And we've just got to all stand up, because, like Stu said, he wants his mates around. We all want our mates around, and we don't want people getting hurt in the cars. And prevention of that has been aware of those symptoms. So if you're a driver out there and your club does get this presentation that's going to go around from St. John's, go and watch it, go and listen. Don't fog it off, because it's worth sitting in your club rooms, having a beer and listening to what they have to say, and it's well worth it. And we've seen drivers over time lately, like Jason Long, took that experience, pulled the pin on racing for that reason, you know. And he was at the, let's face it, he was at the peak of his powers when it comes to superstock racing when he retired. So just if you're a driver out there, don't risk it. It's not worth it. You're doing a hobby. You're not out there to make big dollars. Just don't. Yeah. It really hit home for me as well, listening to Nick, actually, Stu, when he stood up. It was like, wow, to think 10, 15 years later, he's collapsing from a concussion that was 15 years old.
Yeah, that's I think what hit home there is, you know, we all make decisions on the night to stand people down, but yeah, when it comes back around in 10, 15 years time, that's what sort of opened my eyes to think, wow, you know, and for Brendan to back that up and say, yeah, it's not what's happening now, it's what's happening in those, you know, we see it with rugby, with, is it Carl Heyman going through the process now, you know, so it just comes back to bite you in later on in life.
No, you're right. Yeah. I was sitting there when Nick went to stand up, and the way Callan reacted to him as well when he stood up. Obviously, they'd spoken about it previously, and the way he kind of energized Nick to stand up. I knew something was going to come out, but I didn't know it was going to be in that context. And for him to lay that out for everyone to hear, you just knew it resonated with everyone sat there, backed up Brendan Hutchinson's delivery as well, you know. And yeah, you two gentlemen have nailed it on the head, actually. And that's something we need to all look at the sport we love. And I like what you say, Stu. We want to be around our mates and chewing the fat, having a beer and sharing those great memories, you know. And yeah, we can't do it. You're right.
Checking out the babes, Akins.
Yeah. You know, you got me. Hey, I was going to show a picture of bloody Pete Rees and his dad at the awards, but no, that's all good. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you, Stu, for your very informative little chat. Thanks for joining us tonight. All the best what you do, mate, and good luck with the commentary coming up. And I appreciate once again on behalf of Book and I with your input to help us get through the AGM, mate. Really appreciate that, eh?
Yeah, no problem. And you don't forget to give him the eye when you're asked, mate. put your vote in.
Yeah, hard out, mate. Hard out. Awesome. All right, time to go check out my babe, and we'll head off now. Catch you later. Cheers, Stu.
Thanks, mate. Yeah. Well, there we go. Another night done and dusted here at Cockpit Media with Trackside with Cockpit, brought to you by GARAGE16. That was very, very good chat, actually. It was good having Stu to discuss those things as well, you know, because it gives you that whole perspective from the three of us. I thought he'd been there before, but he said it was his first time as well. So it was great to have perspective of three newbies, so to speak, Kins.
Yeah, hard out, mate, you know. If I could urge anyone to get along to an AGM as an observer, do it, because it's very, very informative. And what we observed there, obviously, over the day and a half, it's going to help us out and guide us through our show as well, especially when it comes to the team side of things. Otherwise, I hope you got your tickets. You were one of the patient ones sitting online there when it all crashed. Perseverance, but you would have got there maybe in the end. And hey, you still got like 8 months. I think it was 101 days. Wayne Otten put in the chat earlier on until we see the green flag and smell the old methanol and get the dirt in our face and the good old hot dogs. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of the week. There's some wet weather coming on through for the country. So I know it's not the best thing. They can have it all now during the off season. When it gets to Speedway season in 100 days, that rain can just piss off. Otherwise, take care. Enjoy your Wednesday.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you. And it's out.
Holy snapping duck shit.
My good mate from Bub and Rumbuka, Georgia.
I'm excited for another great show tonight. Give it the hoot nanny.